As a doctor, I get this question literally every day. Why do I feel one glute more than the other? Why does one side hurt and not the other? Why does my low back hurt and not the other? Today, I'm going to help you find both glutes, especially when you are squatting. Welcome to Squat Every Day. I'm Dr. John Cybulski. If you have a problem only feeling one side when you squat, I've got 3 solutions for you today that are going to help you find your glute, find your quad. They also could take away some one-sided knee pain, some one-sided back pain. This is not a cure-all fix. The other thing is today's exercises are not going to be easy rehab. I'm going to assume that you've got some level of movement competence. You are average or maybe even above average. I'm not going to give you clams. I'm not going to give you banded monster walks. We're going to go a little bit more advanced today. So if you want to try some stuff you haven't really tried before to help fix your squat when you're trying to squat every day, because I know you are, then stay tuned. I'm Dr. John Cybulski. This is Anatomy of Therapy. I feel like I already said that. Who knows where we're at now? Let's get to the exercises. This is the first one. I'll show you all 3. My favorite is probably going to be this last one, and we'll cover that last. The first one is this guy. This is basically an advanced bird dog exercise. Some people say that it's working this glute, but actually it's going to work the backside glute a lot. This is also going to do a weird glute med activation. It's not weird, it's great. You need the glute med to activate. Then we're going to go over a good morning with a stagger stance, and then a Bulgarian split squat with a twist. It's a bit of a negative. I'll go through all the pieces of these here in a second, break down the muscles, break down how to do it, the techniques and tricks to make sure you get the most out of these exercises so that you can find your glutes when you squat. Find both glutes. This is the one-sided amnesia. That's what they say about gluteal amnesia. Gluteal amnesia doesn't really exist, but I do understand when people are talking about, I'm doing squats and I only feel it in one side. I think gluteal amnesia is a bit of an exaggeration when people do that. Let's go over the pure rehab stuff. We'll get to stuff that is rehab but doesn't look like rehab towards the end. So this first one, it looks like rehab, okay? We are in the bird dog position, which would be all 4s down. And in the bird dog, usually this leg goes up and then it goes back, right? But today we are going to use, come on guys, we are going to use this bench to help us activate this glute. Now you may also feel this backside glute working as well. Probably not as much as this end exercise, which I will go over shortly. But let's go over this one first. So PAILs, progressive angular isometric loads. That's what PAILs stands for. PAILs. Just all this means is you're going to push down into the bench really hard. So he's statically just holding and pushing down really hard. Sometimes when you just prop your leg up onto the bench, you'll begin to feel a spasm out here on the outside of the glute. That's good. Shake it out. It feels weird at first if you haven't done this, but ease into this and get used to it. So once you can get your leg comfortably up there to 90 degrees, you might feel a little bit of stretch in the groin. That's great, but you're going to actively push this knee and your foot down into the bench for 90 seconds. So as hard as you can, and then you'll relax. So it's kind of a PNF, contract, relax, but we're also just getting this joint, this capsule, and these muscles used to being at this angle, okay? So progressive angular load, we're gonna do that. The second thing we're gonna do is lift off. So you can see he's already lifting off here, right? We're gonna keep everything nice and straight. What this lift off does is going to make the outside of your hip spasm up the first time you do it, if you haven't done this. If you can do it and it doesn't spasm up, God bless you. Your hips are pretty strong. Make sure you do it on the other side. There's gonna be one side that this is really hard. But he's basically just gonna lift it up and set it down. Lift it up, set it down. And you can see when he sets it down, he just kind of taps it down. He doesn't hold it down. And you're just gonna do 5 of those. If you can get to 10 of those, you are doing great. Especially when we get to exercises like this or like that, we may not do as many reps. We just want to make sure we feel the right thing, basically, right? Okay, so we're lifting up. You're gonna do 5 of those. After you lift the 5, this might be hard for first timers, but like I said, these are advanced. I trust you, you can do it. You're gonna then kick up the outside of your foot. This is going to set your glute med, specifically your glute med, your anterior glute med, on fire. This is Beard the Best You Can Be, a great Instagram account to follow. He's clearly been working on this for a long, long time. That's an insane range of motion to be able to do that. Honestly, if you stay at the first level where you just do a bunch of lift-offs, is what we call them there, lift it off, set it down, and then do pails, pushing down really hard, and get comfortable at that, you're going to be able to get far enough. Being able to lift the foot up, you need to know that it's possible. Don't expect to get here for about 3 to 4 months. Play the long game with this. The other thing why it's going to really activate this glute med a ton, but what happens is when you lift this leg up, you shift your weight over to the other side. So there's a lot more weight now on here, like where's the weight? It's on his hands and it's on the other hip. So that's how getting the other side, lifting this up will shift you and perhaps get the other side of the glute to activate. Doctors out there, you're getting with that just a pelvic tilt. So we're going to get a femoral movement by itself, and then when you're holding it up, the whole pelvis must tilt over to the other side. So this is another way to fix your pelvic tilt. Great. Shut up. Let's go to the next one. We're going to get to this one in a second. Honestly, if you could just do this last one, probably all you needed to do. But let's see if we can't build into it. So this is simply a weighted good morning, which is crucial because I do think it will expose some other weaknesses. Like the last one probably showed you had a weakness in the glute med or keeping your pelvis shifted over. That's how it's going to activate that glute. This one is saying that you have a tight posterior capsule, tight hamstrings. The posterior capsule is the ischial tube. It's where the deep six rotators connect in for your glutes back here. You might have some tight calves. This will also work on those tight calves. But the big thing that happens as well is that people's back gets weak. So in good mornings, it's vital that you strengthen up your low back, bulletproof your back, future-proof your back. We're not doing a lot of weight. There's probably a 25 on his neck. You can put a bar, dumbbell works, a kettlebell works as well. But you'll notice he's going to keep a very straight spine as he does this. Let's get to the playing of it. Go ahead and play, sir. So good morning, weighted good mornings. He's just bowing straight forward, trying to keep it straight here and straight here. This back leg is stagger stanced off so that most of the weight is here. You'll probably notice that his weight is shifted a little bit over more to this left side. You're keeping some weight on this right foot, but you're unloading that hip with that knee. And you're just repetitively, as this goes down, it's going to pull tension all the way through here. The midpoint of that tension should be high hamstrings into the glute. You should feel your low back working just a bit. You know, we want to strengthen up the back. You want to do it repetitiously. The low back is a small muscle. But the same thing with this one. You're going to do it repetitiously. So you're going to get 10 or 12 good reps where every time you go down, you really feel the tension through this posterior chain so that you activate your posterior chain for when you load it up heavier later. This is a common thing that we talk about, loading up. There's a video we did on pre-fatigue, just getting some blood flow into the area where typically when you have weight on your back, you don't get a lot of blood flow, which means you don't feel it, you don't sense that muscle going. And you'll see he's progressively trying to get a little bit lower here. So a lot of people just go to 90 and that's totally fine. He's a little bit below 90 and he's just kind of pushing his limit each time. You see he's kind of going to the end and finding it that one wasn't so good. And he goes down and he just kind of pushes it. So when you get close to the end here, pay attention to how far you can go and just tap the end range. So like I'll tell my patients, if this is your limit, you want to find it and then just barely nudge it a little further up each time. That's kind of what these exercises are doing. You should be doing the same concept works with your squat when you squat every day. To just do a tiny bit more, just to kind of test yourself. Okay, so the last one, this negative Bulgarian split squat. You can see the position. Again, back foot offloaded, very much like this guy, very much like this guy. You may notice a pattern here, so we get that one side to wake up. But what he's doing, and then he's holding, man, these weights might be 30s. This is my favorite game. Guess how much weight it is in these videos. Comment below if you know the weight. But anyways, also smash the like button, hit the subscribe thing too. Okay, so he's got 30 pounds of weight on him. He's shifting his weight and his knee well over the toes, and that's fine. He's closing the gap. So one of the other things you can think about is pushing your hamstring into your calf here. Hamstring is the back of the thigh, calf is the back of the shin, trying to push those together. So that will also help keep your foot nice and flat. It's okay if your this heel comes up and you go onto your toes just a little bit. If you want to, though, because this will start to pump a bunch of blood into the tendon bathing, they call it, if you feel it in the knee. If you feel it, if you want to and need to feel it more into your hip, I would suggest you keep that heel down. What happens is as this knee goes up, so the femur, this is what I'm talking about, as the femur goes up, the other side is going to go down. So think about it like a seesaw, right? So if this knee goes forward and up, this hip must go down and back. And then to feel and activate that hip is when you're pushing out of it. So you're going down into the negative, which may or may not be the ultimate depth of your squat. And this is how it's going to fix coming up out of the hole in the squat. That's usually the hardest part, right? Is going into an excess depth in your squat. So bringing this knee further down so that this hip drops further down, or this knee goes further down than it would naturally in your normal squats, or you just breaking the plane of 90. Maybe some of you go heels to toe. That's great too. But for, say, just breaking the plane of 90, if you can go lower, if you can get comfortable deeper in the squat like we're talking about here, if you can get comfortable with your knees further forward, controlling your weight out of here, then when you go back to your normal squat, you'll be able to come up out of the hole, as they say, a lot easier. Now, these are going to really overload that posterior chain. So this would be the last one in the set that I'd like you to do. And again, with these, you're just banging out reps here. Well done, Wes. This is Dr. Wes Hendricks. He's got a great account. I think he's got a podcast too. I'll put a link to his stuff below. But again, he's repping it out, and you can see the focus in his eyes. We're just getting the knee over the toe, and we're getting a lot of stress into this posterior hip capsule through the negative, because we're on the blocks, we're on the pads, so that we are able to hit a part of our glute that we wouldn't be able to feel if we were just on level playing ground. That's all I got today. Do your glute med raises, do your single leg good mornings, do the negative Bulgarian squats, and you do them on both sides, and you will be able to feel your glutes when you squat. Thank you for watching Squat Every Day. I'm Dr. John Cybulski. Check out our podcast. Do the like, share the thing. Thank y'all so much. Take care. Peace.